for the candidate. Identify themselves, please,
Robert David Walkingstick.
and the council contestant, please.
Cara on behalf of Councilor Candace TV.
Okay, we have the council have identified themselves.
You got other council here.
Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me, sir.
Everybody knows Dallas Strimple on behalf of Candace TV.
Dallas
Strimple.
Strickland.
Matt Allison, on behalf of Candace.
Thank y'all very much.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Matt Allison.
Thank you. Can I ask you two ladies to come out? When you speak, would you just raise your hand up, because I can't see your mouth, I'm not sure which one.
No problem. I'm not sick, I just have a cough and I didn't cough on
If
anything.
I can't see your
Yeah.
mouth, I can't tell exactly which one to get.
I'm just a weirdo. I was gonna ask.
We'll read the hearing procedures that we will be operating under in regards to the challenge of the eligibility of David Walkingstick, candidate for council, District 2 for the 2025 general election. Eligibility hearing number 2025-2. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to Section 37 of Title 26 of the Cherokee Code Annotated and the rules and regulations of the Commission. Notice this hearing has been given as provided by law to the candidate with a copy of the protest. Proof of service on the candidate and contestant shall be a part of the record. The procedure for this hearing will be as follows. The chairman will preside over the hearings and make any necessary rulings and may consult with commission legal counsel. Any commission member who disagrees with the chairman's ruling may request a voice vote by full commission, and the majority vote shall control it. The parties, counsel for the parties, and the audience will conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner, and anyone creating a disturbance will be asked to leave. The formal rules of evidence shall not apply unless the commission in its discretion rules otherwise. The commission members and commission attorneys may ask questions at any time. Commission members, commission staff, or commission attorney may not be called as a witness. The procedure shall also be recorded by a certified court reporter who shall also swear in any witnesses. First, the commission shall make a part of the record the protest and the challenge. All documents related to the eligibility submitted by the candidate at the time of filing for tribal council, and all the information obtained by the commission pursuant to authorization by the candidate. Second, the contestant and challenger shall be given the opportunity to present any evidence in support of their protest and challenge, and the candidate shall be allowed to cross-examine any witness called, and redirect and recross will be allowed. All exhibits shall be marked and made a part of the record. Third, the candidate shall be given the opportunity to present any evidence in opposition to the protest and challenge, and the protestant and the challenger shall be allowed to cross-examine any witness called, and redirect and recross will be allowed. All exhibits shall be marked and made a part of the record. At the end of the evidence, the parties will be allowed closing arguments to the commission within a time frame set by the commission. And after such closing arguments, the commission will consider the evidence in executive session. The commission will reconvene the hearing to render its decision. Approved by the Cherokee Nation Election Commission on February 18, 2025. Okay. There has also been a motion filed in this case by candidate Walkingstick to dismiss the proceedings. Ms. Teague has filed a contest of eligibility as provided for in the election law. The election law also provides for a hearing. The motion to dismiss is denied. We will proceed with the hearing.
Mr. Chairman, at the beginning of the hearing, the commission will introduce certain exhibits that will be of evidence of parties during the hearing. The first one is the commission exhibit number 1, which is the declaration of candidacy of David Walkingstick with supporting documentation. Next is exhibit number 2, which is the protest or contest by candidate Teague for the eligibility of candidate Walkingstick. Exhibit number 3 is the notice of the hearing, the request for continuance or rescheduling by candidate Walkingstick's attorney, and rescheduling of the hearing for today. Commissioner, exhibit number 4 is the hearing procedure that the chairman just read. Exhibit number 5 is the motion to dismiss by candidate Walkingstick, to be made a part of the record. Exhibit number 6 is in the Walkingstick's registration, voter registration with the commission and voting history. I mentioned the voting history reflects the when the candidate voted and what precinct, but it does not reflect, of course, how a candidate voted. That is confidential. We don't have that in our records. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the chairman consider accepting these exhibits as exhibits to the hearing.
The exhibits presented by Mr. Chapin are admitted as evidence, or as exhibits, excuse me. Right now, we will go to the opening statements. Counsel for Ms. Teague, your opportunity.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to waive opening statement.
Beg your pardon?
I'm going to waive opening statement.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. All right, counsel for Mr. Walkingstick.
I'll make this very brief. Mr. Walkingstick, again, as he has submitted all the proper paperwork showing that he is properly an eligible candidate for District 2 to include a utility bill and other documents as well. We'll note that this board has used those exact same documents to find a candidate who was proper to run before, and at the end of this hearing, we'll be asking that to allow Mr. Walkingstick to proceed with his candidacy.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Now we will have evidence on behalf of contestant Ms. Teague.
Can you all hear me okay? Thank you. At this time, I will call David Walkingstick as a witness.
Mr. Walkingstick is not present.
And I thought that might be the case because I visited with Mr. Gifford and asked him if Mr. Walkingstick was going to be present when you all were on break. Is it your position that Mr. Walkingstick will not be present for the entire hearing?
That's my understanding, yes.
So you only intend to call him as a rebuttal witness?
That's correct.
And also, during that conversation, I asked Mr. Gifford if he had instructed his witness not to attend. He said no, he hadn't, but he believed that Mr. Walkingstick was following the advice of former Chief Joe Byrd.
Oh, no, if I may, this is a correction. That it was following in the practice of what former Chief Joe Byrd had done himself. I apologize for miscommunication. To my knowledge, he's not spoke with former Chief Joe Byrd, and nor am I aware, and as officer of the court, don't believe that he has. But that he's not appearing as a course of practice. That goes back to at least Joe Byrd.
So are you stating to this commission that you that you have personal knowledge that Mr. Walkingstick has not communicated with Joe Berg about this matter?
It is my good faith belief, I don't believe that he has, and I believe that I would not know so if so, but if he has, I have not been advised.
Okay, have you asked your client if he communicated with Mr. Berg?
I have not.
So you have no personal knowledge whether he has or not? Thank you. So I saw in the previous hearing that the administrator, Mr. Fears, was very efficient in delivering exhibits. What I'm going to ask, with the permission of the council and the commission, I have a big stack of exhibits here. I made copies of all of these exhibits. I have an original set here, which are color copies. And what I intend to do is to introduce these color copies at the end. But I have the color copies because we are intended to show these to Mr. Walkingstick, which obviously is not going to occur. We have other witnesses that we have color copies for. So what I'm going to do is with the commission's permission, give you black and white copies, and then at the end, if you accept the exhibits in the evidence, you will get the color copies. Is that okay? Or the color originals, I guess I should say.
Yes, go right ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. So we're going to start with exhibit number 1. And this, I believe are your exhibits number commission exhibits?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna, with the permission, we will call these petitioner exhibit numbers. Is that
Yes.
okay? We'll start with petitioner exhibit number 1. And I have copies here for all the commissioners and the opposing counsel as well. I have plenty of copies of them. Thank you.
I think that's just extra. Did the court reporter get one? Yes.
Might make it easier.
So I direct the commissioners.
Councilman, do you have the exhibits marked that you're going to introduce?
I do not have them marked.
We probably should mark them before you get them to the court.
Okay. Do you have stickers?
Are they petitioners, is that what you're
Yes.
using? There's some.
You'll bring them over here, we will get, that will mark them off.
Please mark the one we give you the court.
Yeah.
So you have in front of you petitioner's exhibit number 1, which is a copy of the state statute. I direct your attention to commission exhibit number 1, which is the filing packet of Mr. Walkingstick. And on page 2 of that filing packet, you will see a driver's license of Mr. Walkingstick that was issued in, I can't see the issue date, but I can see the expiration date of 9/30/2022. And it has an address on there, 21969 East 482 Road. What I would posit to the election commission, I know when you look at your code, you have the ability to do your own research, and I would ask this commission to look to see where Mr. Walkingstick is registered to vote. Where Mr. Walkingstick's driver's license currently is. It is our belief that Mr. Walkingstick's driver's license, if he were here today, he was to present his driver's license, that it still has the same address that he submitted to this body as part of his candidate packet. And as you see, it expired November 9/30/2022. So what he submitted to you all as proof of residency to be a candidate in District 2, this driver's license doesn't prove that, and the commission can take notice of the fact that that address is outside of District 2. But I would again ask you to inquire of him or public records as to his current driver's license address. And petitioner's exhibit number 1 that I handed you is a copy of the state statute, Oklahoma statute 47-6-116. where it mandates, and you can read it as well as I can, that you are supposed to notify the Department of Public Safety within 10 days after moving from a residence. That's in the bottom half, and your original will be highlighted when you get there. So we are marking petitions exhibit number 2, which will be the original. The court reporter, and we're asking Marcus to hand each of the commissioners exhibit number 2. Petitions exhibit number 2. So in looking at petitioners exhibit number 2, and you can see where I kind of highlighted it, you can see a little bit. If you look at the back page, page number 2, you will see that Mr. Walkingstick was registered to vote, and we're talking about state and federal elections here, not Cherokee Nation elections. That Mr. Walkingstick was registered to vote at 21969 South 482 Road. That is the same address of the driver's license that he presented to this commission as part of his filing packet. And you will see that he voted in the general election on November 5th, 2024. That is evident on the first page, that he voted in person at that address. And you will see that he changed his voter registration on February the 6th of 2025, when he changed his voter registration. If you look at the top of page 1, you will see that he changed his voter registration to vote in state and federal elections to 714 South Cherokee Avenue, which is the address that he claims to live at. But he changed it on February 6, 2025. This commission is well aware that February 6, 2025 was the last date for him to file for office. And Cherokee Nation probably. We're marking petitioner exhibit number 3, and I'm asking Marcus to hand that to the court reporter, and then also provide copies to the commission, please.
Before you comment on that, I need to make a little change with my recorder. And
Sure.
put some fresh batteries in, so just give me 1 minute. Thank you.
You ready? Thank you. Okay, so commissioners, directing your attention to petitioner's exhibit number 3. You will see that this is a document pulled down from Crosspoint Data, and it shows 718 Butler Street. We might take directing, as you know, that is where Mr. Walkingstick is registered to vote in Cherokee Nation elections, is 718 Butler Street. I also would ask the commission to investigate whether or not Mr. Walkingstick has been receiving mail at 718 Butler Street from this commission. as well. So if you look at I apologize, these pages are not numbered. If you look at page number 4, you will see that the owner of that property is Miss Emily Epperson, and that she, at the mailing address is P.O. Box 2075. If you continue to the last page, you will see that Miss Emily Epperson purchased that property on October 15th, 2020. And I want you to, you know, there's a lot of addresses, a lot of dates, a lot of owners here, but I ask you to keep in mind that P.O. Box of 2075 as a contact email or a mailing address for Ms. Emily Epperson. And you should remember that is where Mr. Walkingstick is registered to vote in Cherokee elections. We're marking as petition exhibit number 4, asking Mr. Fears to present that to the court reporter and also to deliver a copy of each to the commissioner and the council for Mr. Walkingstick. Thank you. Commissioners, I direct your attention to this document. As you can see, it says that this is a voter record that was printed on February 23rd, yesterday at 8:20 p.m. from a voter file received from the Cherokee Nation Election Commission on February 18th, 2025. That is, shows that Mr. David Walkingstick was registered to vote as of February 18th, was still registered to vote at 718 Butler. And it also shows on the second line that it has a Y there for a bad address. So that indicates to me that mail has been delivered to Mr. Walkingstick at 718 Butler Street and it has been returned to this commission. I'm now asking Mr. Fears to present petition exhibit number 5 to the court reporter, to the commission, copies to the commission, and copies to opposing counsel. Thank you. Commissioners, this is a deed document that shows that property was purchased on January 3rd, 2022, and the addresses for that property was 21872 and 21870 Hickory Lane. The commission can take notice of the fact that that property does not lie within District 2, and later you will hear testimony about that particular property. That is, if you see here that that property is kind of odd. I'm sure that Councilor Chapin will find this odd, but Mr. Walkingstick deeded that property to himself and to Miss Emily Epperson on January 3rd, 2022. I'm sorry, signed and delivered December 27th, 2021. It was filed with the court, on January 3rd, 2022. You will remember that Emily Epperson is the owner of the property at, I think it's 718 Butler. I believe is the address, which is where he is registered to vote for tribal elections. We are marking petition exhibit number 6, asking Mr. Pierce to deliver that. I don't have to say that every time, do Mr. Pierce. Say the court reports and keystrokes. Thank you. So petition exhibit number 6 is a quitclaim deed from Maggie Studi to David Walkingstick, signed and delivered on the 30th day of July 2019. That property is at 21969 South 482 Road, which mistake. Let me correct that. Petitioner's exhibit number 6 shows that David Walkingstick was living at had an address at 21969 South 482 Road in Tahlequah, and that he conveyed, received lots 3 and 4 of Sandy Hills Estates. That's the property that was at issue in exhibit number 5, which we will determine ended up having a Hickory Lane address.
Counselor, are you talking about number 5 now?
Yes. No, I referenced number 5, just introduced exhibit number 6. Yeah.
And what are you saying about number 6?
When Mr. Walkingstick obtained the property on Sandy Hill Estates, he was living outside the district at the 21969 South 482 Road. It's the same address as his driver's license that he presented to this commission, and I believe it's the same address that's on his current driver's license. I am marking petitioner's exhibit number 7. I want the commissioners to be aware that is a full, how many pages is that? Yeah. There's 8 pages in the original exhibit that were given to the court reporter. We are only providing the commissioners page number 1 from that, but you'll have a complete packet. And I'm only going to be talking about page number 1. Thank you. So what you're looking at here is real property tax assessor records. And when you look at the date of this, it was last updated on February 19th, 2025, which is just about a week or so ago. It says the owners are Deanne Walkingstick, David Walkingstick, and it says owner occupied. It is address 21969 South 482 Road, which is again, the address is on his driver's license, and also his voter registration for state and federal elections. And I want to draw your attention down here to, under it says property information, line number 5, about halfway down, it says homeowner exemption, homestead exempt. So Mr. Walkingstick received filed for homestead exemption at this address for calendar year 2024, and it was updated a week ago, February 19th, 2025. It's my understanding that state law limits the number of homestead exemptions that an individual can have in 1 year. We're marking petitions exhibit number 8, and handing copies of petitions exhibit number 8 to the commissioner and council, to Mr. Walkingstick. Petitions exhibit number A relates to property at 714 South Cherokee Avenue, which is the address that Mr. Walkingstick is claiming that he has residency at for purposes of being a candidate in District 2. You can see that on page 3. It has the address listed there. Direct your attention to the second to last page of this document. You're at the second to last page. If you look at the top line, it says there's a warranty deed on April 8th, 2021 from David Walkingstick to Emily Epperson. Reflecting that Emily Epperson is the current owner of this property. We're going to talk about some exhibits later, which Councilor Chapin entered into the record, but I want to just note that at this property, 714 South Cherokee Avenue, you have documents in your candidate packet that have the owner's address, billing address is P.O. Box 2075, which is the same billing address for ERB Investments, and also for Talcott Public Works for gas. Again, those are in Miss ERB Investments, Miss Emily Epperson's name. Miss Emily Epperson is the owner of this property. I am handing you petitions exhibit number 9. Exhibit number 9 is a document that's pulled off the Oklahoma Secretary of State website. I asked this commission to go into the Oklahoma Secretary of State website and look further. There's additional documentation on the Secretary of State's website, but what this shows is that there is a limited liability company called Stick Built Homes LLC, which David Walkingstick is the owner of Stick Built Homes. And this was effective on January 3rd, 2021. It's perpetually effective. It's still in existence. You can confirm that through your own research. And it shows the address for Stick Built Homes when it was filed and still currently is 21969 South 482 Road, an address that is outside the D2, the address is registered to vote in state, was registered to vote until February the 6th in state and federal elections, and where his driver's license currently is, we do believe in what he filed his papers. We have marked petitions exhibit number 10 for the commission and for the opposing council and court. Petition exhibit number 10 is a document from the Cherokee County Treasurer's Office. It shows that the address in question here is 21872 South Hickory Lane. And the owners are David Walkingstick and Emily Epperson. And I apologize, Counselor, in a previous document, there's documents that show that they purchased this property in the Sandy Hill Estates. This is for tax year 2023. And if you look on page 2, it says that the taxes were paid by First State Bank and David Walkingstick and Emily Epperson. Marking petition exhibit number 11. Petitioner's exhibit number 11 is very similar to petitioner exhibit number 10. It's essentially the same document, same address for 21872 South Hickory Lane, ownership by David Walkingstick and Emily Epperson for tax year 2024. On the second page of that bottom line, you will see the taxes were paid by David Walkingstick and Emily Epperson on December 13th, 2024. We have a witness who unfortunately had to go to a funeral this morning in Seminole, and he's on his way back. She just said he is in Fort Gibson. So with the commissioner's permission, we're just gonna continue getting all the documentary evidence before you, and then we'll move forward with our witnesses. So I'm asking you to look at Commission Exhibit number 1, which is the entire filing packet for Mr. Walkingstick. As we know, and I'm just going to do this in order as you have it here. As we know, in the last sentence above Mr. Walkingstick's name, which is notarized by Taylor Scrapper, he filed on February 6, 2025, his declaration of candidacy. The statement about his name says any candidate who makes a false statement or violates any provision of the Cherokee Nation Election Law and is deemed to be a crime subject to prosecution, civil penalties, and damages. Clearly, that was a notarized statement by Mr. Walkingstick related to this commission. Page 2 of that, we discussed this ad nauseum. That is Mr. Walkingstick's expired driver's license. Page 3 is a document provided by Mr. Walkingstick from Tahlequah Public Works. Unfortunately, Mr. Walkingstick isn't here to answer questions about this document, but if you look at this, it shows that this invoice is to ERE Investments. I proffer to the commission that ERE Investments is Emily R. Epperson Investments. It says care of David Walkingstick or Emily Epperson. And this is for property, where's the address? Right there, 714 South Cherokee, which is the address that Mr. Walkingstick is claiming that he lives in for purposes of running for District 2. And the billing address is, if you look there, is P.O. Box 2075, and other exhibits that have been presented to this commission will be moved for admission, will show that that is a P.O. box that is owned by Ms. Epperson. And because this is an investment property, because Mr. Walkingstick is not the owner of the property, which has been proven by previous exhibits here, it is believed that this is an investment property and rental property. When you look down at the previous current usage, you can look and see that this is usage from September 4th, 2024. I believe that the deadline for Mr. Walkingstick to have established residency to meet the candidacy requirements to run for District 2 was September 10th. We know it's 270 days prior to the date of the election, which is June the 4th. So this is usage from September 4th on. It shows zero usage. It also shows an electric connect and reconnect, and then a water connect and reconnect. Turning to the next page, page number 3, and this is a little difficult to read, but again, it's the same address. This is from, I believe, gas. NOPTA, which is a gas bill, and it is also for the same address, 714 South Cherokee. The customer is David Walkingstick or Emily Epperson, and also P.O. Box 2075, and it shows, both shows meter activity, but when you look at that meter activity there on September 30th, 2022, that's the period date, the read date, November, September 2022. It shows a disconnect reading landlord. And nothing happens until September 2nd, 2024, reconnect reading landlord. And then you have a period meter reading, which shows, if you look out there on that reconnect, you have zero usage. And then you have a period meter reading on November 6, 2024, a reconnect reading landlord on December 17, 2024, still showing zero usage. It is my belief, it is our belief, and our contention, and Councilor Keely's contention, that Mr. Walkingstick was not living at this address, no one was living at this address, and in fact, no one was even flushing the frickin' toilet at this address.
I'm gonna have to check, is she testifying? Will I get to cross-examine her, because she's making an argument to you now. We're not at that point, we're supposed to be submitting documents, not interpreting.
I think that since she cross-examined you earlier, that you have the right to cross-examine. And both of you are members of the bar, and you don't have to take an oath, you're under oath already.
Go ahead and finish.
Thank you. I also want to point out that that is a direct.
Let me ask, Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Right, if you look up at the top left-hand corner, it says direct pay, which we believe is further evidence that this was a business. And we've got obviously landlord written all over it. The next page is also from Northeast Oklahoma Public Facilities Authority. If you look at that, it's a little bit easier to read than the previous page, but this is also the document submitted by Mr. Walkingstick. It essentially is the same as the previous page, except it has another line on there showing limited usage, reconnect, disconnect, landlord, reconnect, with zero usage during the previous few months. Okay, now we're at the next document, which is a series of documents related to Oklahoma Farm Bureau. And I believe this is, how many pages is in this? It's 3 pages. There's 1, 2, and 3. It shows the applicant name, David Walkingstick. It shows an effective date of April 1st, 2024, April 1st through April 1st, 2025. But by looking at the face of this document, several things are. It shows a Caterpillar, 1973 Caterpillar and a 1987 Case, which our researchers have shown that that's some kind of a piece of heavy equipment. And this document shows that this is not renter's insurance, it's not homeowner's insurance, it is simply a document that shows that Mr. Walkingstick owns some pieces of property, some pieces of heavy equipment, and that he listed the applicant address at 714 South Cherokee Avenue, and it lists his agent's name is Mr. Billy Gibson. I would, Petitioner TV would request that this election commission reach out to the Oklahoma Farm Bureau and ask when this document was created, and if it was created in the last few months. I want to offer the evidence as demonstrative exhibits. I'm going to do these at the same time. Number 16 and 17.
What are the numbers of those?
Number 16 and 17, Counselor.
Your last exhibit is 11, are you bypassing those right now?
Yeah, but that's for our witness to show up. We also count counselor used some of your exhibit, your candidate packet, which is exhibit number 1, add additional exhibits for those who just use it hopefully for simplifying the record for users.
Did you number that as one of your exhibits?
No, you
No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You just referred to.
We refer to, yes, commission exhibit number 2. Commissioners, so what you have in front of you is exhibit numbers 16 and 17. If you look at Commission's exhibit number 1, we were looking at the Oklahoma Farm Bureau document. If you flip to the last page of that, it says a 1973 Caterpillar and a 1987 Tex. Now, I know that these are not actual pictures of that piece of equipment. Mr. Walkingstick isn't here to testify about that. However, this is what the internet shows that those pieces of equipment look like at those years. And directing your attention back to the photograph that you have of the 714 South Cherokee Avenue, it doesn't appear that any of this equipment would fit on that property. Back to Commissioner's exhibit number 1, I'm not going to read to you, but I just want to point out, setting for closing, the letter to candidate, the candidate certification, everything is true and correct. And the release of information on the last page, which specifically allows this body to do research, to investigate this, and Mr. Walkingstick has agreed to release that information regarding his candidates. That, we want to move to admit all of the all the exhibits that we have offered at this time.
The only thing, I think you had one exhibit, gave us the first page. I think the chair needs to see that full exhibit
Okay.
before we can make a decision.
And what, that was the homestead exemption, I believe, wasn't it?
Number 7,
Number 7?
whatever that was.
Real property tax assessor record. Number 7, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, that, the first page shows the homestead exemption. There's additional pages that
Yeah, that's the one that
can we get the original thing?
Jennifer, is your witness here yet?
Yes. Well, not, that witness is coming from the funeral is not here, but we have a witness that's ready to testify. We'll put him, with the commission's permission, we'll put this next witness. We are finished with, except what we're gonna get in for our 2 witnesses, we are finished with our documentary evidence.
We just need to look at the one that's over there. Can you explain very briefly what the other pages to this exhibit are and what the relevance is?
They were just pulled off of the Westside, the research, the internet research. It just shows previous homestead exemptions. If you look at those, it'll have Deanna Walkingstick, David Walkingstick. It's just for, I apologize, I didn't make copies of it, it's the original. Thank you. I also want to point out that Oklahoma Statute Title 31, when it talks about homestead exemptions, it specifically says, the home of such persons provided that such home is principal residence of such person. You only get one, and that homestead exemption is 21969 West 482 Road, California.
And then you need to just announce exhibits are given. Exhibits, what are those numbers, 1 through 11 and 15, 16, 16,
16 and 17.
1 through 11 and 15, 16.
We will admit exhibits 1 through 11 and exhibit number 16.
15 and 16.
16 and 17.
16 and 17.
16 and 17. Excuse me.
The petitioner would call Dawson Davenport.
Mr. Davenport. Marcus, would you give him a chair, maybe just
I think that's the same chair, stand up there where the court order can hear.
Okay.
Right, can you hear right here?
I have no problem being loud.
You need to swear him in for us, please.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Alright, good afternoon, Dawson. It's gonna be you're really gonna want to talk towards me, but I'd really appreciate it if you talk towards the court reporter and,
Okay.
and towards the commission.
Okay.
I know how that feels as a witness to want to do that. Could you go ahead and state your name for the record?
I'm Dawson Davenport.
Okay. And are you a Cherokee citizen?
I'm not.
Is your wife a Cherokee citizen?
My wife is a Cherokee citizen.
Do you know if she's registered to vote?
From my understanding, she's not.
Okay.
Ever since I've known her, she hasn't voted.
Okay. Do you know Condessa Tiki?
I do not.
Do you know David Walkingstick?
I know of him, yes.
Okay. What do you know?
I know he was at one point on the tribal council. I know he likes to bass fish. That's actually kind of how I know him. We used to fish a bass, same series, but not together, but I would see him there. That's how I got to know him.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a paramedic,
Right. And who's your employer?
Cherokee Nation EMS,
Okay. Where do you currently live?
at 708 South Cherokee Avenue, Cara, Oklahoma.
Okay. And how long do you live there?
At least 2 years. I could get the actual date, it's been longer, but
I think that's fair enough. And
am I loud enough? No, I just wanted to double check.
and you've been sitting here, so you're probably aware, or are you aware that Mr. Walkingstick has claimed that he resides at 714 South Cherokee?
Yeah, I was made aware of that probably just a few days ago, maybe a week or so ago.
Okay. Do you know which house is 714 on your street?
I do. So my house is on the west side of the road. It's the very northern house. So if you're going down South Cherokee, heading north, it's the last house on the left. There is a brick home, a blue home, and then 714 South Cherokee. So it's on the same side as my house, 2 houses down.
Okay. And I would ask you about last week here in a little bit, but
Okay.
before last week, have you ever seen anybody living at 714?
Not that I can recall, no.
Okay, how often have you seen cars parked?
Very scarcely. I saw somebody the other day, as I noted, that was out digging a hole in the front yard. I'm not sure if it was reconnected to maybe a meter or something, I'm not sure, but I saw somebody then, and other than that, I really haven't seen anybody there.
Okay, how often do you drive by 714?
Every day, with the exception of Mondays, or Saturdays and Mondays,
Okay, so,
multiple times a day,
okay,
with the exception of Monday and Saturday.
okay, so it's probably well in excess of 12 times a week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How well do you know your neighbors?
I know all my neighbors definitely by sight. Everybody likes to joke about the old man that sits out and watches everything. Well, that's me. I'm just not old yet.
And you said that you know Mr. Walkingstick. Do you know what he looks like then?
I do,
Have you ever seen him on your street at all?
with the exception of the last week, no,
Okay, and then last week, have you actually seen him?
I have.
Okay,
I've seen him, I'm not sure, I would have to look back 2 or 3 times, midday.
okay,
I saw him once in the snow and then once after that. Again, both midday.
okay. But before last week, have you ever?
No,
Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about last week, because I understand you took some photographs, and we're gonna go ahead and go through those. We're gonna go and mark these petitioners exhibit 13. I understand that's a jump in numbers, I'm sorry.
Still at 12.
Commissioners, this is the original, which is all color copies, and these are, and we have black and white copies. I would kind of like for the commission to see the color copies, and then, is that okay if we present it to you?
They ask me the question, and they can pass it down, give it to the.
We'll also give you a set of black and white copies as well. That way, when he's being questioned, you can, look at those.
What is this number again?
13. Mr. Davenport, do you recognize these photos?
I do.
Okay. And if you could you go through them real quick and review them? And there's a sticky note on here with a date and time for each photo. Can you just go through and make sure those correspond to when you took the particular photos?
I believe all those to be correct.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned that you'd seen Mr. Walkingstick present at the property this past week. I understand these photos are ones that you've taken throughout the week. So let's just go through them one by one, starting at this first one that you've got labeled February 18, 7:08 a.m. 18th, if I remember correctly. So this would have been last Tuesday?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, so this was before probably the storm started rolling in.
Correct, the morning I was getting home from work here.
Okay, you're getting up from work at 7 in the morning. And then this next photo, moving on, this is obviously after the snow had rolled in. Was this when you were leaving, or when you were leaving for work that night?
I don't recall what I was going to do, but no, I was not going to work that evening.
Okay.
I don't remember where I was going.
Okay, but you took this on Tuesday night.
I did.
And then we can turn to the next one. Obviously, snow continued through the night. This is the next morning. And I don't see any car tracks on there. Do you remember any car tracks being there?
That's why I took the picture.
Okay.
But no, there were not.
Okay. And then, okay, this is again on the 19th at 11:20, or 11:18, sorry. I guess you were going by again and taking pictures?
Coming home from whatever I was doing, I'm assuming.
Okay. And again, were there any car tracks there at the time?
You can see some car tracks going horizontally, but not down vertically into the property. That was from the, I'm assuming, from the mail vehicle, because they were coming across my driveway the same way when she delivered mail
Okay.
that morning, so I had the same tracks on my driveway.
Okay. And then the next one is at 3:09 p.m. and there appears to be a pickup truck there. Have you seen that pickup truck before?
I had not,
Um,
that's why I took a picture of it.
okay. Have you seen that pickup truck there since?
Yes,
Okay. Have you seen who's driving that pickup truck?
David Walkingstick.
It's David Walkingstick?
It
Okay.
is.
Alright, we'll move on to the next one, which is, you've got it labeled here as February 23rd at 10:01.
Yes.
I can't see much, but I don't have the color one. Do you remember what was on this photograph?
Just nobody there at 10:01 p.m.
Okay. But, so it probably only had I assume, the car tracks, but no car there.
At this point, there's no black.
Okay. That'd probably be why it's so dark. And do you remember, well, before that picture on February 19th at 3 in the afternoon, when the pickup truck was there, have you ever seen that pickup truck there before?
Not that I can recall, no.
Okay. We got one more, actually, I think I missed it. There's one February 24th at 2025, or on 2025 at 6:44 a.m. That's today, right? Yeah. So this was this morning that you took this.
It was.
And there was no vehicle there, it looks like?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Have you mentioned, are you aware of anybody residing at the 714 address? Okay. Do you know if your wife has mentioned seeing anybody living there?
My wife has never seen anybody living there.
Okay. And does your wife know Mr. Walkingstick?
She does, my affidavit, it's noted on there, but she knows him. She used to be a student at Muskogee High School.
Okay.
And I guess he was involved with Muskogee High School.
Okay.
Or Muskogee Schools, like I don't know if it's high school or not, but Muskogee Schools.
Okay. And based on your living on the street, or living on the same street for the last 2 years, would it be your opinion that Mr. Walkingstick lives there?
No.
We'll pass the witness.
Gifford?
Mr. Davenport,
I'm sorry, what was your name?
my name's Robert Gifford.
Robert.
All right, so Mr. Davenport, question. You said something there at the end about your affidavit. What affidavit are you referring to?
This one right here.
Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Mr. Davenport, you said that you work as a paramedic for Cherokee Nation?
Yes, sir.
And, so what, do you have any supervisory position, or are you just, boots on the ground paramedic?
Boots on the ground paramedic.
And how long have you worked there, sir?
About 2 years.
And Mr. Davenport, did you just happen to be taking pictures of Mr. Walkingstick's house?
As in?
Did you just, is it something you do? You take pictures of all your neighbors' houses?
No.
Did you do this at the direction of anybody?
No.
So you just did so because you wanted to?
No. Once I wrote my affidavit, and I put my word on it. I wanted to make sure that I could verify.
I see, who did you give that to?
Ms. Free,
And how did you know Ms. Free?
she called me,
She called you.
correct?
And, did she call you first, or did you take the pictures first?
She called me first.
And did she ask you about Mr. Walkingstick?
She did?
Did she ask you to, take pictures of his house?
No,
Did you volunteer to take pictures of his house?
I did.
And why did you volunteer to take pictures of his house?
Because again, if I'm gonna testify to something, and put my word on it, I want there to be proof.
I understand. So Ms. Free, called you to ask you a question about Mr. Walkingstick?
Correct.
And did she tell you why?
She said that, David Walkingstick had, said that he had lived there.
And, how is it that she came to contact you?
I'm not sure, I think they pulled the voting records, I believe.
And pulled your voting records and called you?
Correct.
And you volunteered to do so?
Yes.
What hours do you work as a paramedic?
I work every Saturday and Monday, 0700 to 0700, so I work a 24-hour shift.
Okay. And then you have the rest of the week off?
Correct.
And then, does your wife work as well?
She does.
And, what hours does she work?
She works 3 days a week. It switches, but she works 07:30 to 19:30.
Now, the house at 714 Cherokee, have you been inside that house?
I'm not.
Have you, seen the backyard?
From my backyard.
Now, you testified that the vehicle in one of the photos, a pickup truck, you identified that as one that Mr. Walkingstick has driven?
He was there, the vehicle was there, I didn't see anybody else, I assumed it was David Walkingstick's vehicle. And every time I had seen it since, I had also seen David with it a few times as well.
And, do you know who Emily Epperson is?
I do not.
Do you know if Mr. Walkingstick is married?
I have no idea.
Do you know if he has a girlfriend?
No.
Right. Have you ever seen a female American resident?
No.
And, do you know what Mr. Walkingstick does as a profession?
I do not.
Do you know if he, so you wouldn't know if he was a landlord, if he had multiple rental properties?
No. Well, I guess other than the exception of today, because I've seen his name or heard his name on some of these exhibits, but before today, no.
So based off the exhibit, you interpret that as he has, several rental properties?
I don't know what kind of properties, but his name's on them. Seems to be, anyway.
Now, the photos you took on the hours, was this chose random times?
Yeah.
The first photo was dated February 18th, 2025. Were there, I noticed that there was, no photos before that and no photos on February 20th, 21st, or 22nd. Did you not happen to drive by, or did weren't out and about at that time?
Yeah, I don't know where that coincides with my work schedule. Like, last week I worked, Friday and Saturday, I worked a 48-hour shift in Oaks, so that's why there would be no pictures throughout then, and then I'm not sure on the other days.
And, now question, just before you got married, fair to say you dated your wife, correct?
Yes,
And not to get too personal of information, but at some point, you guys lived in separate residences before you guys got together, is that correct?
correct.
And, would either of you ever come and stay the night at each other's residence?
Yes.
And at some point, did you spend more time at one residence than another?
I'm sure, we switched toys flip-flop though.
No further questions?
No regret.
No regret?
No.
Regret? Next witness?
Dr. Commission has a question?
Huh?
May this witness be excused?
Yes, okay.
I just want to make sure you all have the original pictures of those, correct?
Mr. Gifford, do you have any objection to this witness being excused?
No objection.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think some people might need to use the restroom. Yes, thank you, okay? Hit me in the head next time, I'm sorry. We have a motion to recess for, let's go 15 minutes, and it's 4:03 right now.
I make a motion to have a recess for 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I second that.
4:13.
4:13, I'm sorry.
All right, we have a motion
Now
and a
we're
second.
taking a break.
We have a motion and a second to recess till 4:13. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. May, our witness has been on the road, as you know. May he sit, they see you here?
Sure.